Final ending of the shine before the darkness. I had some issues with wife a few months ago, but we resolved that. That's not what I'm here to discuss. However, in brief I'll say is she ended our marriage. We lived together for a month and a half in the same house. She saw someone for that 1 month. Didn't go well. We got back together after a lot of counseling and talking and openness, where we shared each other's passwords and now have an open look at the other's phone when we need be. Anyway, that's the past. My wife's sister just came to visit us. They haven't seen each other in 10 years. They had a great weekend. She lives in Florida. My wife has told me she is going to visit her sister who lives at the Panhandle for spring break. Alone. Her sis has a BF and kids. My wife will be staying with her. She will get there Monday and leave Thursday. Not the weekend. Without jealousy but with total balanced view, is this okay? I think if in went for spring break is go with her. But that's me. My wife is in her 30s. What's everyone's view here on this? A month later, my wife and I have slept together 3 times a week. Her aunt, who she wasn't close to, passed 9 days ago. She has been there for her cousin. Her cousin's dad, wife's uncle, is strong, been married 28 years. Her cousin is still sleeping together through all this. My wife says having to be strong for everyone in the family has ruined her drive. I know 9 days isn't much, but to me it is. We had a breakup September and October. She started seeing someone else and put me through hell. We got back together in early Nov, and I have to admit that it's better now than when we first met. She says it's not another guy. I trust this. She's home after work, etc. I'm thinking it's bills, and she's using the aunt's passing as a reason. Her cousin is married but seeing someone else. 2 months later, and my own methods to restore my marriage. We have been open and no secrets. Then yesterday wife saw that I had FB searched some young man. She asked me why. I said he keeps popping up on TV, friend suggestion. He is the friend of hers and her cousins. She then told me he is a little punk who had hit on her on FB a month ago, but she told him he was too young, 20. That she had a husband and that he knew she had a husband and that wasn't right. Would have appreciated though had she told me at the time, last month. But she says she handled it and I shouldn't be worried. She has changed for the better since last year. She's home right after work. Always wants to spend free time with me. Has photos of us all over FB. And said she's learnt from her stupid mistakes from last year when she had 2 flings. One with a younger male. I do think the short breakup we had last year was the best. She was having 2 flings. Then after I left, she realized how much our marriage meant. She's home after work. Takes me everywhere. Doesn't see her girlfriend and sister that she used to spend all the time with and meet men at their houses anymore. We just came from vacation. It was wonderful. Many said to give up. Others here told me to hang in there. Just disappointed I wasn't informed about this punk. He is living at home. No job. No car. Wanting to sleep with my wife. And looking at his FB page, he seems depressed that some girl left him recently. Few months later, we have been okay. Wife got laid off Friday. I went to work till 7 p.m. yesterday. She had baseball practice for the kids till 7:30. I got home 7:30. Kids got dropped home at 8:30 p.m. by a friend. Asked them where mom was. They said she went to next town to get 2 mattresses from someone. Her cousins too. Kids are coming tomorrow to spend summer with us from out of town. I called her 8:30 p.m. and she was headed home. Got home 8:45. She didn't tell me she was going to next town when I texted her at 8 p.m. She came in looking angry cause I had oversprayed air freshener, and made remarks. No hug or hello. Then she makes bed. My side of sheets were still damp. So, I suggested we flip covers. She said no. It's not that damp, it will dry with room fan. I was like, why is she being so selfish? I laid my head where my feet usually are to avoid damp area at the head. And we argued. She took pillows to go sleep in daughter's room and we argued more, so she ended up not going to sleep there. We just got the kids. She went out and bought our kids her cousin's kids takeout lunch and they all came back home with it and sat down to it. Nothing for me. So, I've left the house to get my own. Not acting like a big baby, but how do you get everyone else something to eat when your hubby is home and not remember to bring him something? Even a call to say, hey honey, I am at such and such ordering something. Would you like something to eat? I work 12 hours a day. I get home exhausted and hungry. By then she's taken the kids for baseball practice or a game, 4 to 5 days a week, and the practices end late like 9 or 9:30. By the time they get home I'm fast asleep. As I got home and cooked and walked dog and showered and slept as I have to be up again at 4 a.m. We are having intimacy very rarely. I have asked why this town has sports after school practices so many days a week even on school nights and all summer, and why so late? Why can't practice end like at 7? She says it's always been this way in this town. For health purposes I don't eat out too frequently. So, after work I have to drive home as I work out of town, and by the time I get home and walk the dog, I'm so exhausted most nights I go to bed with nothing to eat. By the time they come home I'm fast asleep. She does ask me to come for practice. We are in a small rural town where she grew up and knows everyone. I moved here and know not a soul. My work schedule doesn't allow me to be up from 4 a.m., drive to work another town, stand on my feet 12 hours labor work, drive home, walk dog, come back, cook, and rush to join them at practice until 9:30 p.m. Go back home and get ready to be up in 6 hours for another long day. 4 years later, without a detailed update, OP separated from his ex-wife. We have been engaged together a year. My family loves her. I have blood pressure issues and just started taking meds. This has affected that I can't have erections. Please don't laugh as this is bothering me a lot. This is mainly our biggest challenge. I'm about to get my permit for my CDL and get a good paying job. Last 1 year I've had trouble getting extra work in this shoddy economy, but I do have a job in retail that doesn't pay anywhere close to what she's making. So, she has shouldered most of the bills and she feels like she's carried me too long. Actually, when we met, I had my own place and car, etc. 2 months after we met, my roommate burnt the house and so she asked me to move in. Then a month later my car went down. So, we have been using her car. She works from home. We also have a 4-month-old baby. She knows I have a few weeks to complete the CDL, but she can't wait. She wants me out and then woo her again when I have all my stuff in order. She wants me to go to my sister's. My sister doesn't want that. I've basically nowhere to go. I have no means to get to work. We have no physical life, but I'm exercising now and taking meds and I feel my erections are coming back. She mentioned how an ex who dumped her keeps sending her voicemails and she remembers the good times they had in bed and spark they had in the relationship. But she says she isn't keen to have him back. She doesn't want him. She wants me to go so she doesn't see my face daily and remember the last year's disappointments, like me not having a car, not having a good job, etc. She wants to see me in a different light, like trying to wow her. I am down. I'm a man, but I feel scared and vulnerable. Please don't advise to stay because she turns into a different being when angry. So please don't say stay. Someone asked about my previous marriage. We divorced. She was cheating. Someone asked what I'm doing to better myself. I'm in CDL school now. I had a good job and got laid off last year. I have a job now, but it's not that high paying. But I'm no lazy bum. Someone said something about being in the US and meds, etc. Yes, I'm in the US. I said I'm now on meds, and my performance is improving. She says she's not interested in the ex. She only thought about him when he left her voicemail. I'm doing all I can to get this CDL. I don't see how me moving out, getting my own place, getting CDL and starting work will improve us. She views the last year with her being the main breadwinner as a killer for our relationship. I've gone on numerous interviews. Nothing came out of it. But I did get my present job last year in November. 2 weeks ago was her son's birthday. I said I'd do the backyard pool. I went and got a vacuum. It drained half the water. She ended up calling her sister's ex-husband to drain it all as he has the equipment. I then cleaned the pool, patched holes in the lining, filled it up, took the pump for repair, hooked it up and set it up when it was fixed. That on her part was failure, cause she had to get the ex-bro-in-law to drain the rest of the pool cause the vacuum I got wasn't going fast enough. In her eyes I can't be relied on to start and finish a project, despite the fact that I did 90% off the labor and running back and forth to pool shops getting chlorine. Also, I did all the grilling at the party. I'm sleeping in my baby daughter's room. She's hardly spoken, but she did order food yesterday and asked me what I wanted and had it delivered. A little small talk today here and there from her. I have sought different jobs in the last year. Worked one where a gun was pulled on our route driver doing delivery and she asked me to quit for safety. I was doing Uber and car got messed up. I do 90% of the cooking. I have had this retail job since November. Still looking for jobs. It's saturated, like 10,000 people applying for 3 jobs. But I keep doing. I watch the baby as she works from home when I'm not working, and even when I'm working you still watch baby after I get home in the morning. I'm studying for my CDL. It's not like I'm sitting doing nothing. It may not be good enough as she wants to see results, but it's not like I'm turning down jobs. We spoke. She understands the last year has been rough on me, but she acknowledges I've tried my best. Not easy to get jobs around here, but she still wants me out till I get the CDL. She wants me to stay at my sister's. My sister said it's okay, but she has a family and it can't be for long. And no bum, by the way. I've lived on my own before this. First time living in a home where a woman pays them majority of the bills. I won't knock myself down, sorry, like some would like. Crap happens. So, I'm staying at my sister's for a few weeks, then going to a shared house. Only shared houses we have found to my budget have women roommates. She doesn't like that. So, my other option is a trucking company in Texas. They offer accommodation too, drivers and all. She doesn't want that, but I have to leave the house. So now tell me what I should be doing, cause I'm doing all I can. I'm not going to be homeless. So, I'm taking one of the 2 options. And I understand people saying that from her point they understand her disappointment. There are not many jobs around here. I have moved and even sought jobs. How many people seek jobs for a year and more? I already have a job. It just doesn't pay to her satisfaction. But it sure pays bills around here. Bills that she would have to pay alone if I didn't have it. Not like I'm lying around on the couch. Now that she finds out I can't stay at my sister's for a month, and that my option is shared housing with the probability in this town of it being with female, or a job in Texas that's like 3 days drive from here, she is upset. So, what do I do? Sleep on the streets near home to be near home till I get the CDL and get a job that's paying. I'm sorry you can't have your cake and eat it. If she wants me out, then there will be sacrifice I make and she makes. I understand her position. At the same time, it's not like she doesn't see my effort, and it's not like I haven't had a job. I have not been laying on a couch, playing video games. I work, I do 90% off the cooking, I clean, I help with our baby, I have yard mowed, etc. I pick up her kids from after school. It's not like I've been sleeping doing zero. Wrong perception. It's just been rough getting a good paying job. Yes, CDL school in Texas is that option, or shared housing here around home, and we looked, and 90% off the ones I can afford have a female roommate who doesn't mind a make roommate. The two with a make roommate are very pricey and far away. So, like I said, I'm not becoming homeless. It's either Texas or shack up with a female roommate. She's now saying she's not happy me doing either, etc. Well, you want me out. So, inconvenience for me saying for you. It wasn't just going to be hard for me. When I'm in Texas, 3 days away and hardly ever coming home but a few times a year then. Or when living with a female roommate and you have to wonder. I refuse anymore to go under her whims. I'm making a decision for me. When I'm gone, she will have to pick up kids from after-school activities that end at between 8 to 9 p.m. She will have to do all the cooking now. She will have to clean the pool, coordinate lawn mowing, care for baby 100%. Since in her opinion I won't doing much. She's mentioned she doesn't know how she will handle baby, cooking, picking kids up when I'm gone. When I'm applying for jobs all over the place, I already have one. And by seeking CDL I'm seeking one good paying job, not several min-wage ones. You can only put applications and follow through. Getting the job is up to hiring managers. How many people are looking for jobs and can't find them? Not talking about people who don't do crap. I work nights, and when I get off, I go home and tend to our baby as she works from home. So, it's not like I'm not contributing. Update, she's just kicked me out. She mentioned, like we had agreed, trying for a last baby in October. Said I'll get a job in trucking in Texas. Jobs looks great. She doesn't like the idea of me gone so far. She doesn't like the idea of me leaving my sister's house and getting my own plans. 3 years later, my wife is supposed to get off work at 6 p.m. I've been seeing on her clock out online portal where on says she will leave at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. and get home at 6:45 p.m. like she normally would if she left work at 6 p.m. When she gets home, she doesn't even mention leaving early. She is a very shy homebody, doesn't have female friends here. She has one make friend, a coworker. She told me last night he is out for 2 weeks. So, on Monday when she's off, she said she wants him to text her his address and she can leave grocery shopping outside his door, as he can't leave his house. When she leaves work early, she isn't going to get her hair or nails done. Neither is she clothes shopping. And she will come home and eat. So, I know she isn't eating out there on a date. Very hard to tell what's going on. My next step is GPS. I don't have a way of checking her phone log. Our phone company doesn't provide paper logs. She is spending 2 hours somewhere. She mentioned before she finds her boss cute and joked she'd like to screw him. But I don't see that being the reality. This coworker is whom she has been mentioning a little more of late. This coworker has no family here. He is from another nation. I have to fit the GPS cause why not say I've left work at 3 or 4 and I'm going to swing by the grocery store or Lowe's to check on porting soil. Why come home at 6:45 p.m. when you left work 3 hours ago? It's very hard to catch work affairs. Eventually she did catch herself and mentioned that groceries do deliver. What struck me was when she said she'd ask him for his address if he was okay doing that, so she can drop off food to his house tomorrow Monday when she's off. He then texts back saying he has food and appreciated the gesture. How do I talk to her? Honey, are you cheating? I suspect you are. That only drives a cheater to hide even better and more. And what's the answer supposed to be? Yes, I'm cheating. She worked in medical research and has done a lot of medical work in the past, including in countries where tropical diseases were rampant, etc. Her coworker caught it. She wants us to swing by and drop off Ensure Shakes at his doorstep tomorrow. She also mentioned going to check on him. I said, why would you visit someone with corona and get back in car with me and expose me? Her reply was, I'd not expose you. I'd probably stay there in another room. I'm flabbergasted. Someone explains this to me, and she's sitting here as we watch a movie all happy. It's like she's not thinking about her words. Update. Yesterday she said she's not going to adopt him, as in move on and care for him. Now don't get angry with me. I'm just reporting this to y'all, my friends. We just got home from work and he go. Now it's 7:45 p.m. She was looking for a receipt to return some pots for some plants and says they have to be returned today because tomorrow will be 30 days. She has left. What I'm suspecting is she left to call him to check on him. He is home from work cause of lockdown. My comment, all you had to do was drive by his home, but you're going to wait for a VAR. Sounds like you don't want to know. Got to get that head out of the sand and stop dragging your feet on finding the obvious truth, which you will likely allow her to spin so that you can stall on taking any action on things regarding her. Don't you understand that it doesn't matter if he's sleeping her if he's on your wife's mind 24/7 and she's putting his health before yours? I think there's a good chance he isn't even interested in your wife, Opus. But for certain, your wife is interested in him, and likely any other man that will give her the time of day, excepting you. You really don't need any more info than you have in order to just call it quits. OP did not learn from his first marriage, and history will keep on repeating itself. Story 2. So, I wanted to tell my story of surviving infidelity. After 2 months of trying to understand why my husband cheated, and what kind of mistakes I made for this to happen. Here goes. My husband and I have known each other for 15 years. We were friends at school. He's been in love with me since he was 16 years old. Unfortunately, we've lost contact as the years passed by. By coincidence, we found each other again 5 years ago. We fell in love instantly. We moved in together and got married exactly 1 year later. We had a wonderful time together and had a baby 3 years after getting married. After having our baby boy, things changed. I quit my job, raised our son for about 2 years, and started to work at his company this year. This was his idea. The last couple of months were tough with the lockdown. Our company had to shut down for 2 months, his sister getting married and the whole family getting crazy about this special event. We fought a lot. He was never home, always working or helping his sister planning her special day. He didn't have any time for his child or me. I ranted a lot, and I mean a lot. At the beginning of September, the wedding had finally taken place. I'm a photographer and took the pictures, and we were off for a 2-week holiday. He was in a good mood, making plans for the following days. We were planning to visit the zoo when he gave me his mobile phone to look for the opening hours. Don't ask me why, but instead of looking for those hours, I looked at his text messages. What I saw was a chat between his mother and him. He wrote, "Mom, I kissed Catherine yesterday, and she kissed me as I've never been kissed before. I couldn't breathe." I threw the phone at him and ran away. When I came home, he told me she was one of his driver's students. You have to know we live in a different country, where you have a driving school, with a driving instructor who shows you how to drive a car in about 2 to 6 months. She's 17, which is legal age in our country, if her parents agree with it. He is 30. They have seen each other privately for the last few weeks, and he's in love with her, but she's not the reason he's leaving me. He told me he's been thinking about leaving me for about 9 months because I make his life living hell. I was speechless. Never in a million years would I have guessed that he would cheat on me. I tried to reason with him. I asked him what I have done to make him feel like I made his life a living hell. He didn't have answers for me. He just wanted out. After a lot of talking, that didn't help me figure this out at all. We decided on a 3-week break because he didn't know what he wanted. We decided on marriage counseling. The summary of these 3 weeks is, he canceled the marriage counseling, and I went on my own. He didn't feel ready. I kept on working in his office. He kept on playing hot and cold with me. He kept on telling me that his feelings for me seemed to vanish from day to day, and his feelings for her grew. On the last day of those 3 weeks, we sat in the office drinking coffee, and I asked him if he'd seen her since. What he told me made me dizzy. He had continued to meet her during those 3 weeks frequently, and he had slept with her the night before in our office, where he has slept since he moved out. I got up and started to pack everything that belonged to me from the office. First, he was furious, then he left me to my things and came back 2 hours later. When he saw me packing our son's playthings, he started to cry. I went to him, trying to talk to him. He told me it was all too much for him. I told him that I could understand what he was doing, that he felt free with her, no responsibility for his wife and child, no problems. I mean, she is 17. She probably adores him, makes him feel special. While I only tell him what we have to do next to keep our business running, listen to his every word. Afterward, he didn't say anything. I got up and tried to leave the office. He followed me and held me back. What followed was him begging me to sleep with him one last time. He said things like, "Of course, I miss you, I don't want to admit it to myself, and I love you, but not as much as in the beginning. Let's sleep together, and then we'll see where this leaves us." We didn't. I left. Afterwards I found out that this girl has been in his family's home weeks before his sister's wedding. I found out that my husband badmouthed me to his mother the whole time while meeting the other girl. I found out that he wanted to wait until after the wedding to end things with me because I'm a photographer, and was booked to take the pictures at the wedding. I got a lawyer. He got a lawyer. Everything is running its course. A counselor called him one day and asked if he was willing to meet him. He agreed. He talked to him for 2 hours, and they decided on a second meeting with me joining in. That meeting was my absolute highlight. It went on for 4 hours. My husband told me 5 times that he was done with me and our relationship and that he was looking forward to us being best friends after our divorce. He finally had the courage to tell me all the reasons why he didn't want me anymore, always adding that Catherine wasn't the reason. These are the reasons why I'm making his life living hell. I'm too dominant concerning his business. I'm calling my parents once a day to ask how they are. I'm a daddy's girl. I can't admit mistakes. I rant too much. I'm thinking too economical, always saving money instead of spending it. That's about it. He always seemed happy. He never fought with me. We had a good life. He never said a single thing about any of those reasons he now pointed out. We decided on another meeting, where I would be able to tell him things that I didn't like in our relationship. even though he told the counselor 4 times he was done with me, doesn't love me anymore, etc. He was kind of talked into another meeting by the counselor. The counselor told us we shouldn't see or hear from each other for the next 2 weeks, only exception if it's about our boy. We both agreed and I actually felt relieved. Unfortunately, my husband wasn't able to keep his promise. I got a text message every day. Every time he picks up our son, he asked what I was doing today, who I was meeting, if there was another man in my life. On Sunday things escalated. I went to pick up our son from him and told him to just give me our boy and his things and I'm off. He shouted at me, screamed at me in front of our kid, about totally stupid things, like when he was allowed to pick up his discs. And he told me that people are asking him, what's gotten into me as I'm running around like a bee. Don't ask me what has gotten into him. I am 100% sure that no one has said such a thing to him. I wear normal clothes. He is jealous cause he realizes me slipping away from him. And people have found out he's having a relationship with a 17-year-old girl, which he wanted to keep under the rug. 2 months I've tried to understand him, tried to make this work in whatever way. But after this conversation I was finally done. I told him that I don't want any contact with him anymore, that I don't want to see him, hear from him, or read messages. Only exception is if it is about our child. I canceled marriage consolation, and I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Of course, he couldn't accept it at first and has tried to reason with me, telling me that he thinks it would be good for us to keep on going to marriage counseling. And how sad he is that all of this is happening right now. For a second, I thought about this being the right or wrong decision, not going to counseling anymore, now that he seems to want to. But I know now that this is only a way for him to bind me to him again. He hasn't and won't change. He's still with the teenager and only wants me as his other option if this doesn't work out in the end. I told him, I am not sad that all of this is happening. I am sad that you gave up on our family. I tried everything I could, but now I'm done. This is on you and I'm working on my life now without you. I haven't heard from him since. Actually, this is a very fitting post to what's been going on for me today. I was able to pick up my new car, as he has taken our family car and doesn't give it back. Both of us know the people working at this car dealer and really every single one of them came to greet me and told me what kind of idiot my husband is and how they don't understand why he would give up his family for a 17-year-old. They also told me that he is parading her around in town, going to dinner and so on. Hearing this hurt. But I also had to laugh when I thought about him being super proud to have his teenage girl on his arm, while everyone else is only shaking their head in disbelief. What's buzzing around in the head these days is, a lot of people here or in my circle of family and friends tell me that one day he'll probably try to get back with me. I don't think this will ever happen. Why would he do that? He doesn't love me anymore. Don't get me wrong. I know what he's done and still doing and I don't want this kind of man back in my life. But is it normal for cheaters to try to get back, or why do people think that this is possibly going to happen someday? If I ask people, they only say you'll see. I don't understand. So today he picked up our son and was in complete shock that I didn't hand him over this time. My dad did. Haven't seen him for 2 weeks, and with my dad doing me this favor from now on. He got out of the car and instantly started to cry. I don't know if it was because of the situation, our son, or my dad. He walked up to my dad and wanted to lean on him and said, I'm sorry for what happened last time picking up our son. I want to apologize, after trying to convince me for 2 hours to take his phone call. Cause it was oh so important and far too complicated to write. He surrendered, told me I was being childish, and he was able to write his questions down in 3 sentences. I'm so proud of him. He's probably running around now, telling everyone how right he was in leaving me cause I'm far too stubborn and that I'm hell-bent on getting my way, just like he told me when he left. I'm getting individual therapy now to work through all of those things that happened. Had 2 sessions up until now and she doesn't let me talk about what happened. I mean, I told her the rough details, but we are only talking about things that I should be doing for myself, all about the present. And I wonder, does this make sense? I mean, shouldn't we be talking about the past to work through this and then start with what's in the present and future? 3 years later, working in his company at the time I was fired, having no job, feeling ugly as he told me I was too unattractive after giving birth to our son. He left for a skinny teenage girl who loves to see herself in Instagram and bikinis. We had an ugly divorce. I found out a lot of ugly things he did during our marriage. Now I know I married a liar. Someone who doesn't have any empathy, who only looks after himself, who doesn't have anyone who really likes him and is constantly spending money that he doesn't have, just to look like he is rich. Nearly 3 years later, my life and that of my son has changed, a lot, and definitely for the better. Not even a year after him leaving, he decided for himself that he didn't want to see our child any longer. Since that day we haven't seen or heard from him. No birthday wishes for his son, nothing. On the day of our divorce, I was smiling from ear to ear that I was finally free of him, while he was crying trying to apologize to me. I didn't let him, not after everything he put us through. It was too late. So why am I writing here again? I wanted to let you know a little bit of the life I'm having now. I wanted to help other people who are going through similar things I went through. I'm living a life now that I never thought I would. I started my own business and succeeded. I found wonderful new friends that enrich my life. I found myself again, that funny, independent, and strong woman that I was before I married my ex-husband. I'm traveling the world and showing my little boy all the things that my parents showed me when I was young. I fell in love with a man who was cheated by his wife. He is raising my son as his own. My little boy loves him to pieces. My boyfriend's parents are the best grandparents to my son that any child could wish for. And when that man kneeled in front of me a few months ago and asked me to be his wife, my then 5-year-old answered faster than me, "Yes, my mommy is marrying my daddy." What I'm trying to tell you, life goes on. If someone wants to leave your life, don't hold on to him. Let him go. You are worth more than running after someone who doesn't deserve you. My comment: I'm sorry for where you've been, but damn girl, life has sure turned around for you, and I'm so happy to hear that you and your son are doing so well.